Disney Springs offers a lot of unique stores and restaurants that couldn't be found anywhere else on Disney property. This was especially true around 1990 to 2010. Where else could you play video games in the biggest arcade in the world? Where could you dine in a volcano, party like it's New Year's Eve every night, shop in the biggest Disney store in the world, or shop at a 3-story tall record store? Or buy signed memorabilia inside of Disney World. On the west side of Disney Springs, then downtown Disney, there was a shop on the corner that sold signed records, pictures, posters, and guitars, to name a few. In 1984, a man named Mitch Menaker opened a merchandise shop in Las Vegas, Nevada, called Antiquities. Antiquities is actually still open. It's near Caesar's Palace. Around 1989, Toby Staffa took over the ownership position. Mr. Menaker still wanted to be in the collectibles industry, but this time he wanted it to be big. And where could you begin a big company? Downtown Disney, as it was known then. Even before Downtown Disney, Disney Springs was known as the Disney Village Marketplace. It just so happened in the mid-90s, Michael Eisner and the Disney company saw potential in the area for expansion to bring in new offerings. This would mean a $1 billion investment across the area. First, World of Disney opened in 1996, then Rainforest Cafe and Planet Hollywood. Then the addition of the West Side, which brought in Lanuba, Disney Quest, Virgin Megastore, and you guessed it, Starabilias in 1997.
VH1 has gone to Disney World for the grand opening of their latest music, party, and entertainment extravaganza, Downtown Disney. This place is loaded down with great restaurants and shops, including the Virgin Megastore, House of Blues, and Bongo's Cuban Cafe, owned by Gloria and Emilio Estefan. It's a feast for the eyes, ears, and definitely the stomach. And who better to host the grand opening of Downtown Disney than VH1?
Starabilias offered a wide selection of autographed memorabilia. Guitars, posters, albums, photos, sports items, paintings, props, furniture, or branded mugs or gifts for a fan. Many items were brought here. It is estimated that more than 1,000 items were inside the store over the years. Starabilias would receive new items every day, so it was a very popular look-around store with both out-of-state guests and locals. As Starabilia's unique selection in Downtown Disney grew, so did the brand, and thanks to the website The Wayback Machine, I was able to gain access to the Starabilia's website, all the way back to 1998. This website has since been taken off of regular Google searches, but the Wayback Machine is an internet archival site that you can look up almost any website you want. On the website is the vast selection of autographed items and an order form, which shoppers could use to ship items to their house. Hundreds of items were sold online and in the store. According to the Starabilia's website from January of 2002, an Andy Warhol signed photo was available for $1,595. A Blade Runner poster with 3 signatures for $1,295. A 1939 Cooperstown bat for $45,000. A Babe Ruth baseball bat for $10,000. A B.B. King signed guitar for $6,995. Also from the website, a screenshot from 2004 showed a Van Halen signed album, a jukebox, a John F. Kennedy photo, Harry Potter posters signed by Emma Watson, Daniel Radcliffe, Rupert Grint, and a whole bunch of the other cast. A Star Wars poster signed by Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher. A Friends signed photo signed by the 6 main people. Marilyn Monroe's signed purse. I wanted to know more about the items inside Starabilias, so I hopped into a call with my buddy Joey Mazant, who was a cast member in Starabilias around 2003.
I also have a list here of some things that were sold. I remember you telling me that there was like 3 things on here or something that you actually sold. So the Beatles signed guitar, do you remember that?
My manager, Andy, actually sold that for, I think it was like $64,000 or $68,000, somewhere in that wheelhouse.
Braveheart movie poster signed by Mel Gibson.
Yeah, movie posters, and that was the thing that was always we tried to tell people. There's a difference between limited edition and limited run. Like, if something is limited edition, it means they only made so many.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, limited edition means there were 500 of these made, and there were only 500, and they're usually numbered. If something was a limited run, there might be 30,000 of them out there. They only made them for a year, and when those were gone, they were gone. But there could be tons of those, so you have to remember that. So something like a movie poster, there are thousands of those. You know what I mean? You could
Yeah.
technically go to Walmart, buy a $10 movie poster from Braveheart, see Mel Gibson at like a local Arby's, and be like, hey, I'm a huge fan. Will you sign this for me? And if he does it, you now have that autographed movie poster. The problem is a lot of these guys don't sign stuff because
Yeah.
most of it goes to charity. So a lot of these dudes are only going to sign stuff under certain circumstances. It's crazy.
Mickey Mantle signed photo framed with 6 baseball cards.
I didn't sell that one. I'm trying to think. What did they say that one sold for?
$595.
I don't know who sold that one. That would have either been right before or right after me, because I saw everything that came through that building.
Emmett Smith autographed Cowboys football helmet.
Yeah, I'd see a couple of those. I saw one that was signed by Emmett Smith, Deion Sanders, and oh gosh, was it Troy Aikman? I think I've seen a few of those come through.
Okay. How many were there, would you say?
It's one of those things where, like, check it out. There's a difference between something you would see in a Hard Rock Cafe or a Planet Hollywood versus something you would see in Starabilias. Hard Rock Cafe does not deal in autographed in autographed items. They only deal in autographed memorabilia. Like, if you go to the Hard Rock Cafe in Orlando, you won't see a 1967 Hofner upright bass signed by the Beatles unless it is the bass guitar Paul McCartney played on Abbey Road. So there's a big difference there. So if you just happen to meet the Beatles in Liverpool, maybe you saw them at the Cavern Club back in the late 50s before they got famous, early 60s, and you were like, hey, I have a bass guitar. Will you sign it? And they were like, okay, cool. That thing might be worth $100,000. If you have Paul McCartney's upright Hofner bass that he played on Abbey Road, it's priceless. It's probably worth $250,000, $500,000. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a big difference between a historical prop and just an autographed piece of memorabilia. And that's what I think a lot of people used to think when they came in that store. They would come in and they would see like a poster from Star Wars autographed by 20 people. And it would be maybe $3,000. And they're like, how would you even get this? And we're like, there's really not, it's not like there's only 3 of these in the world. There's probably a couple hundred of these in the world. It's just, there was an autograph signing and somebody went and got the autographs. You know what I mean? It's like whenever you buy a tree, the bigger the tree, the more you spend because you're paying for time. It's like that with autographs. The more autographs you have on the poster and the more rare they are, you're paying for time. If somebody's passed away, you can't get that anymore. So that's really, you hate saying it's a dead pool, but that's really what it is.
What about the Wurlitzer recreation CD jukebox that holds 100 CDs?
We had a couple of those. Those were, I want to say those were between 25 and 50 grand. We actually kept one right when you walked in the door on the left. It was the first thing you saw because it was converted from a record player to a CD player, and we would fill it up with CDs of stuff that you'd see in the store. So I've used that one hundreds of times.
Restored carousel horse.
Yeah, we actually had a couple of those because what was funny about them is they were original carousel horses that a local like crafter electrician guy turned into lamps.
Oh, wow.
And it was really cool. It was super. They weren't that much. I want to say they were only a few grand.
Whatever this website says, it sold for $495.
$495? Probably a recreation then. It wasn't original. We had a couple of like original wooden hobby horses from these, not hobby horses, carousel horses from a reclaimed carousel from like 1950 or something crazy. But yeah, they're like, and they weren't that expensive.
Signed photo of Clint Black.
He's still alive. I'm gonna say probably a few $100s.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. 295.
We had a
Signed
couple
photo.
that were.
What were you gonna say?
I'm gonna say we had a couple of. Like I remember, I sold a Paul Rubens Pee Wee Herman. I actually sold a big top Pee Wee VHS box that was opened up and framed, signed by Paul Rubens, and he put, and of course under his name he put in Pee Wee, and like that was $495. So I've sold a couple of like little things like that. Yeah.
Signed photo of Seinfeld cast, framed and matted with black velvet.
5 members. Does it say how many signatures?
No, but probably the like main cast.
If it was the core 5, it was probably around $1,100, $1,200.
It went for 995.
Yep, I figured that sounds about right. Because at that time, those guys would still have been alive, and Seinfeld would have just gone off the air. So Seinfeld stuff was real easy. Like Friends is another one. It was real easy to get a hold of that stuff because they were all doing their book tours. So,
Did you have any Friends stuff?
Not on me. I sold a cast poster from season 1 for right in that wheelhouse. It was around $1,000, signed by I think it was six autographs on it, but it was cool. I remember I sold that one.
Okay. Elvis signed guitar, glass enclosed with photo matted in black velvet again.
If it's the one I'm thinking of, it was probably, I'm trying to remember which one it would have been. Was it the black one with the chrome overlays?
It doesn't have a picture, but it sold for $16,500.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That wasn't the one. I didn't sell that one, but I was going to say like 12.8. So again, that wasn't the guitar Elvis played on Blue Hawaii. That wasn't the guitar. It was just a guitar. Somebody was like, "Oh my gosh, Elvis!" And he was like, "Hey, baby," and he signed it and gave it up. And so that's what a lot of that stuff was.
Thank you to Joey for coming on to answer some questions and talk about Starabilias for a bit. Starabilias wanted to guarantee that each guest left with something in hand, even if it wasn't a $1,000 signed piece of memorabilia. So, what they introduced was something called novelty items. They sold mugs or bobbleheads, little knickknacks that a hardcore fan would buy. These novelty items had Elvis, Marilyn Monroe, Betty Boop, Three Stooges, Lucille Ball, just to name a few again. Around this time, Starabilias had been a success in downtown Disney, making lots and lots of money off of locals and tourists wanting to get a special piece of merch. You know, I wish I had that kind of money to blow inside of Starabilias. Joey told me there was a guy who loved movie posters. As a matter of fact, he had the money to come into the store and pick and choose which ones he wanted. So, that's a sweet life. Also around this time, Disneyland in Anaheim was expanding their resort with a brand new park called Disney California Adventure. Also, Disneyland would be getting a downtown Disney district of their own, with a small Starabilias. This location only had around 4 to 5 people on staff. With both Starabilias operating on both coasts, Mitch Menaker, the CEO of Starabilias, stepped down as the CEO. Penny One took his place. According to stories I've heard, Penny was not approached while making this, by the way. I've only heard this. Penny bought Starabilias because he wanted a green card in America. And to become eligible for a green card, you need to take a test, marry, or invest at least $1 million into a new business or $500,000 into a business. So, simply enough, he liked movies, and in 2003, he bought Starabilias and got a green card. Again, take this statement lightly. I did not hear this story from Penny himself. As Penny took over as CEO, the business was doing well. But around this time in 2004-2005, the internet was rising in popularity. YouTube was launched in 2005, Google was launched back in 1998, but it was a huge thing. And the iPhone was launched in 2007. So, along with the rise of the internet, also came the ability to see real autographs and really decide if Starabilia's merch was real. People started to be curious about the authentication process of Starabilias. One customer even posted to a Reddit thread, "My father purchased 2 autographed posters from Starabilias at Disney World around 11 to 12 years ago. I've heard of similar places being accused of selling counterfeit autographs before, but have not found too much on them with the exception of one brief mention online. In 2008, a customer accused Starabilias of selling fake autographs in the Orange County court. He did this because Starabilias at this time was bringing in $1 billion a year, estimated." You're probably asking, was Starabilias really fake? Well, this Led Zeppelin album signed by the band is fake. Here are the real signatures, and you can see, if you look really, really closely, that they do not look like each other. There is one, I'm not sure who that exactly is, doesn't look like the autograph at all. This Van Halen autographed guitar is most likely fake, due to the fact that whoever met Eddie Van Halen had him sign a Fender instead of a Wolfgang signature guitar, or even a replica of the Frankenstrat. However, this Walt Disney signature looks real. The picture is very blurry, so I couldn't get a good look at it, but looking at a verified fake and verified real signature for comparison, the W and the D looks right. These allegations were never proven false or fact. After these allegations against the validity of the Starabilia signatures, business started to slow down. And when business slowed down, so does the money. Stores in Disney Springs have to give a percentage of the money to Disney as part of the bills. Starabilias quickly didn't have the money to pay the bills, so on August 4th, 2009, Starabilias closed to the public. So that is the story about Starabilias. Starabilias was turned into the new Harley shop. It doesn't have any resemblance to the old store, and why would it? Harley doesn't have anything to do with the Starabilias company. Harley doesn't have really anything to do with Disney, so they wouldn't put any Easter eggs in like that. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like and consider subscribing. It would make me a very happy man. And with that, I will see you in the next one. Have a magical day, everybody.